Hello, explorers of the elementals and keepers of the fire. It's Tom Gingrass with another episode of Scintilla, one spark at a time. And I wanted to try to throw something out there that isn't scripted in any way and not intended as a life lesson per se, but something I've run across. And right now I'm in the process of doing a bid for a client. And I'm finding it's all I can do to stay in my desk chair and, keep banging away at the numbers. So that takes self-discipline. And really, it's a way of looking at the necessities, the things that we have to do in order to continue on in this capitalistic culture that we live in. And a lot of times, the misconception about artists is that we have so much creativity that we can't walk and chew gum at the same time, and that sort of thing. Or we're heavy into alcohol and drugs, and I don't believe either of those things. So I'm thinking about it from the standpoint that when you work, when you're doing your artistic explorations, you are disciplined. You're doing something you love to do, and you're doing something that you're good at. Yeah. I mean, people tell you, "Oh, you're so talented," and "Oh, that stuff." But it has to do with self-expression, which we talked about last time, and inspiration, which I also talked about last time, and the expression coming from your heart. So it's a true sense of yourself that is getting cast out there, and there's a vulnerability involved in that whole thing. The public criticism, or the friend that says your work sucks, or that kind of stuff, kidding around, right? We have to kind of be a little bit bulletproof when it comes to that stuff and not take offense. But at the same time, we have to know that somehow we're getting feedback from the world, and if it's negative feedback, accept it. It's part of the deal. And self-discipline comes in a part from working on those things that we know in our heart of hearts are weaknesses. And I have mine. I have a whole covey of goodies that I need to look into, that are things that are in the way, things that are presenting problems in terms of my forward movement in the world that I want to create. Okay, and self-discipline is a part of that part as well. What kind of world do you want to create here? And a world of hate, we talked about in another video, is not appropriate. It's just not appropriate anymore. It's an old way of thinking about things. It's an old four-letter word. And I'm trying my best to never use that word, because I don't really truly hate anything. I am, a little bit disappointed in things. Politically, kind of, what in the hell's going on here? Questioning what's out there and what's coming across on the media. And I'm also trying to wean myself away from media bags, like media, watching media too late at night and watching media that is poisonous to me. And I don't really want to get wrapped up in some habitual or addictive way of thinking about things. So I have to be, again, in a new way, and I have been caught up in that stuff ever since the election. And I'm not really willing to do that anymore. It's not that I don't want to be informed. I do want to be informed, but I don't want to be poisoned. And so I'm trying to invoke some self-discipline, and I'm trying to make myself a better person. And there's nothing wrong with trying to adapt to a higher level of quality. You don't have to be the perfect Christian or the perfect Muslim, or you don't have to be the perfect Buddhist or whatever, because there's no such thing. You know, perfect is a word that gets thrown around a whole lot. I think public school does a lot to make kids chase perfectionism when it's an illusion. And so it's important, I think, to be self-disciplined, but without being overly human, right? You can't be a superstar necessarily. You know, and even the superstars, if you look at the tabloids, you know, they're all having divorce problems and relationship problems because they're so driven that they lack the self-discipline to be able to carry on in a relationship without ego jumping in the middle of it, or money matters jumping in the middle of it and messing things up. So I just want to throw out a little bit about self-discipline. Discipline has gotten a dirty rap. It's when you get sent to the principal's office when you're in public school, right? And or called out by the coach, you know, or called out by the music teacher because you couldn't sing a certain, part in a whatever choir concert or any of those things. You know, you get slapped down and you take it to heart, especially as a little kid. And I know a number of people that have turned away from the arts because of what a third grade teacher said or a fifth grade teacher said. I had one of my daughters is a very gifted singer, and she went to a college and was told by the department chair that she would never make it in his program. That ain't what you pay for. Just not right. So, yeah, but you can be self-disciplined and you can take something like that to heart. You can take it as a challenge and say, well, wait a minute, man. That's not how I think about me. So, yeah, you can change your mind. Change the way you think about things. Change the gifts that you have. Change the iniquities, the difficulties that you have, and convert them into strengths. You know, I've heard it said that J.C. Penney, who, was the man that started the big department store chain, somebody asked him when he was in his 80s, when he knew that he was going to be a success. And he said, when I was still sleeping on park benches. When I was still sleeping on park benches. And he did that for a long time. So, anyway, blessings to you. Scintilla, one spark at a time. We change the whole world by sparking up just a little corner of it, and that corner is our corner. So blessings to you, and hope this is helpful. Take care.